the Gifted Healer Conversations. In this amazing series, we're going to be talking to some of the most incredible healers out there. All of these people are either students or have been certified in my flow method and body decode processes, and they are incredible human beings. What I really want you to know is that by tuning in, by listening to these people, you are going to get not only tips to improve your life, but you're going to find people who are out there doing amazing work with their soul gifts, changing the world. Today, we're going to be talking to one of my absolute favorite human beings, Liz Stevenson. She is a former nurse. She's an intuitive healer. She is one of those people who somehow manages to be able to bring that sort of idea of quantum healing into your reality in one of the sharpest, fastest ways you can imagine. So I want to introduce and say hello to Liz. Hi, Liz. I'm so happy to have you here.
Hi, how are you? I'm
Well,
glad to be
Liz,
here. It's great. Finally chatting about what I
you look
do. It's
gorgeous.
good. Oh,
Um,
thanks.
Liz, tell everybody where are you in the world?
Okay, so I'm originally from Australia, but I'm living in Northern Ireland at the moment, and I have been here for 21 years, I think it is now.
Oh my
And before
goodness.
that, I was working in London for a couple of years and traveling. Yeah, so but I was working in London doing palliative care,
Mm,
nursing, that's what I pretty much sector I kind of stayed in, and I loved it. But that's where I kind of found that there's more to us than this physical body. There's
hmm.
more to us. I just by supporting people going through end of life, you you notice there's just so much more to us than that.
Mm.
So it got me into really going into complementary therapy, alternative therapies, and it was great. I loved it, but there was still something, that was like, oh, I can help people shifting what, you know, is blocking them in their way. But it was like getting to that core
Mm.
you know, blockage and finding out. And that's where I found the body decoding and flow method. And I found that works fabulously now with my clients because we can start to find out where it actually started from. And that had such a connection to so many other things in their life. So by getting to that core,
Mm.
where it starts, that core problem, so many other things disappeared. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at now, and using
Liz,
it.
one of the things I absolutely love about you is that I think you were always called to a bigger mission. It's something I've always felt about you. So when you look back on your own personal journey, when you look at that, what does that feel like? Do you look back and think to yourself, yeah, I always kind of wondered the mysteries of life. And I always kind of, because you're very much a pattern seeker. You're probably one of the best that personally I've trained. You're really good at connecting things quite quickly. Is that something, a
Yeah.
skill that you feel like when you look back now, you're like, oh, that kind of was always there.
Yeah. Like, I remember my mum said to me once, I used to sit back and just watch a lot before, and watch people and work things out. Um, and so maybe it was, when I was younger, but as I got older, I think it was more I wanted to know why I was doing certain things, like bad patterns and bad things, and not bad things, but bad patterns that I couldn't stop. I was like,
Right.
know it. I know this is not good for me, but it's just a really bad pattern I'm doing. And it was like a cycle I couldn't get out of. And so I think by looking at that all the time, I thought, where's this coming from? What's it doing? And trying to decipher my own coding.
Sure.
Um, that's where I suppose I started looking at when I started to realize this. I mean, the journey where I started these patterns really was when I got into healing, when I
Yeah.
started getting into the healings and stuff like that. Um, but just getting to the root cause of the pattern, that was where I really wanted what I wanted to do, for
What's
myself.
interesting, Liz, is that we see, and of course now in the work that we both do, we see so many people, or maybe even as we're wandering around the world, right? I notice like a pattern. You're out, there's
Yeah.
somebody, and you're thinking to yourself, well, do you not see that you're doing this over and over and over again, right?
Yeah.
And it's not people are not consciously doing it. That's what's fascinating. It's not most people are not consciously like
No.
right, trying to do that kind of stuff. And I know that you see this now. Do you think that now that you've really worked on this pattern seeking, do you notice that you even see it stronger as you're going out into the world and seeing these connections between things like stress and anxiety and even body issues?
Yeah, 100%. Like, a couple of clients would say something to me, and just knowing the history of where they're from, where they've been through, I'm like, oh well, I can see where that's coming from. And
Right?
you can join the dots from something that's currently they're experiencing now to something that happened 20 years ago
Yeah.
or something that happened 30 years ago. And you go, oh, okay, so these two are still connected and they're
Yeah.
still going, it's still happening now, like 30 years later, but it's manifested as maybe like an ailment in the body or a
Yeah.
disease, because it's a dis-ease. They're so uneased, their body, they're crying out, your body's crying out to say help or stop or, so, a really good example is anyone that's experienced anxiety. It's just stress that's gone on for far too long and your body's screaming stop
Yeah.
or help, so our body is the most amazing thing, and patterns is what we have to look at, because patterns is what we want to break that pattern, and there's so many different ways to do it that, I mean, there's so many pathways in our life to do it, but I find that um this way is a great way to start,
It's
to
interesting, Liz, when you were, so one that I can think of that I feel like ties to the anxiety is when you were working, I think, on that man in your office. So Liz works in a mental health clinic as well in Ireland now. And you had a client come in that was like a dad, and he started talking to you, and you ended up like decoding something, and it was like his son also had like a migraine or something, and you were like,
yeah. So a
yeah,
client came in and I was talking about I think we were doing reflexology actually, and I was, and he goes, "Oh, what do you do? Do you just do this?" And I was like, "No, actually, at home, um, I work here part time, and I have my business at home where I help people do body decoding using the flow method practice, and we get to the bottom of issues. So someone might be presenting with something, and I'll be able to find out where did it start and what's the root cause of why it started, and and." He said to me, really, because my son has been having all of a sudden these terrible like migraine headaches right at the front of his face. And and I said, oh, okay. And straight away I was like, oh, okay. So it's someone that's really close to him that he's looking at every day, and he can't stand what he's looking at. He can't stand what he's seeing, because it was like a blinding headache, blinding migraine. And he was like, oh, he just looked at me and he went really quiet. And I was like, okay. So, and then he was like, actually, he's looking at his wife who started drinking every day. And it was literally, it was giving him the biggest migraine because he didn't know how to face it, didn't know how to look at it,
yeah,
he didn't know how to help or support. And
yeah, I was
um,
literally blinding him. Like,
yeah,
yeah,
and so he's the dad said to me, "Oh my God, I can't wait to get home to tell my son." It'd be great if you could get support. They both need support around this
yes,
issue
yes, they
very, very
both,
quickly.
you know,
Um,
and
to get sorted. Mm.
yeah, and I think that's the wild thing. We talk about that a lot because you have been working in your mental health clinic for how long?
Yeah, yeah. So now I when I came to Ireland, after the kids, I got married and had kids. The kids started school. I wanted to go back to work and I got offered a job at the center in where I live, mental health, where they basically deal with stress and anxiety. They do other trauma as well.
Mm,
I normally deal with the people with stress and anxiety, but they do other traumas and use other
sure.
types of counseling. And it's a great center. It's fabulous. And so working there, I'm able to use this very quickly. And because then I'll be able to pinpoint what modalities will help them with what's causing it. So um, it can really help me delegate. When someone comes in, I've got this, but I don't know what to get, and I don't know
Mm,
what's going to help me. And we can go through the health questionnaire,
yeah,
and we can quickly decide what what tools are going to be the most beneficial for them.
right.
And I also say, and able to say to them, look, I think, have you spoken to your counselor about this?
Yeah.
Have you
Right.
spoken? And I'll be able to say this isn't it a really good topic to help you, because then the
Yeah.
counseling can progress much easier and quicker, and they can get the results that they want. But in saying that, uh, with body decoding, it's very different to counseling. I
Mhm.
really want to say that it's completely different.
Yes.
Working on yourself, and you're looking at, where my root cause is, and then we're putting into place, it's not counseling, it's putting into place to shift it out of the body.
That's
So
right.
this is really important. This is a great, I'm so glad you asked me that question, because we want to shift it out of the body. So we're not really bringing it up. We're not bringing up the trauma again. We're just looking at, oh, this is where it's coming from. And then using other tools
Yeah.
to shift it out of the body and so that you understand that, we are not the story. We are this person that can shift it and then look at it later on and say, okay, I accept that. I went through that, but it doesn't affect us as much, but it has changed us and made us grow into a stronger person. So
Yeah.
it's like taking those experiences, as long as you've understood them. I don't really deal with anyone with anything, quite acute or chronic as like PTSD or
Sure. Yeah.
anything.
That's a different,
That
right.
is definitely a
Yeah.
different
Yeah. Uh-huh.
area of expertise.
Yeah.
Um, but I think most people know that they've been through, and it's okay to be upset while you're talking about something because it does bring up emotions. But we have tools to help to settle and clear and bring people back, into a safe space again.
Right.
And it is a safe space. Um, and I have that background from nursing and working mental health, where you are creating a safe space for that person to tell you quite personal things. And we take that quite seriously. And I
Very
like
much so.
to, you know, um, I really have a strict confidentiality clauses around that as well. But in saying that, yeah, we're just looking at those things and then shifting them out of the body, and so they're not triggering you as they
Right.
used to. So you can move forward, so you can clear those patterns, and your body does respond so much.
Yeah.
Um, when you release stuff and you think, can it be this easy? Yes, it can.
I know.
It
I
really
can't. That is.
can.
That's right. You had said to me, you were working with a client, and one of the things you said to me was, "This is so easy." I still remember you
Yeah.
saying that because you were like, "I can't believe how easy it was for
Um,
me to kind of get to
get to the
the
bottom of it.
root
Yeah, really quickly.
really quickly." And one of the things I have to say, Liz, that I absolutely love about you and the way that you're using not just the body decode and flow method, but all of your amazing amounts of experience, healing and intuitive experience.
I do,
Um,
I do, I do like other healing modalities
yeah,
that really help to boost these. And
yeah,
they're
and you're
really
very
in each.
smart about it, the way you put it together, personally, I think.
Yeah, I have, yeah, a lot of over the years accumulated a lot of yeah, healings and stuff. And so it's really good to use the body decoding to be able to use these healings because you know exactly what they're doing. When you understand yourself and you go and you feel more and you're more aware of your body. I think with body decoding too, makes you more aware of how your body is feeling. You become really aware of what's going on in my body because you're working on yourself.
Right.
You're investing in yourself. You're you're creating you know tools every day. You're changing and making space for yourself every day to create change. And I think they're the people that will really benefit from this kind of work, is people that are willing to do the work, because it
Yes.
isn't, I'm not doing it for them.
Right.
I'm
And we
creating
can't.
this. No.
Right.
We can't. Yeah, and we're also
No.
different too. So
Yeah.
you have to create it, every single, even the do it yourself programs that I've created, they're specifically designed so that you can create certain changes in your life that are specifically designed for you.
Hmm.
It's not generic.
Right.
Um, I give you the tools, but you create how you want to use it. And there's no wrong way, as long as you're following.
Yes.
that program.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would agree with you. I think that's been one of the things that I suppose both of us have seen in our lives and careers as we've grown as healers and so forth, is that one of the things that drives me crazy is when people try to apply sort of a one size fits all thing
Yeah.
to, and none of us are. It's, yoga pants aren't one size fits all, right? They say they are, but you
They're
bend
not.
over and they reveal the truth. So, right,
Yeah.
right. It's not. We can't. It's not. And so one of the things I see in you, Liz, that you do so beautifully is that are no matter who comes to you, you have the most non-judgmental way about you, which is something that, I think is incredibly important. So that when people come, no matter who they are, no matter what they've been through, they are able to come in a safe way and talk about it. And I think
Yeah.
that's part of what you've done is create safe spaces for people with stress and anxiety. So tell me, why did stress and anxiety become something you were just so passionate about helping people heal?
Yeah. This because I just see how debilitating it is. I mean, maybe I've experienced it myself. Um, in my probably after I finished school, my early years, late teens, early adulthood, I was really racked with anxiety. Although I hid it really well because I just got
Often we
up,
do.
I know, I was in a, brought up where you just get up and get on with it and kind of push everything down. So obviously
Sure.
that's not very healthy. And
Right.
it came up where I could hardly, I would go to work, but it was very nerve-wracking to walk, to the bus stop to get the train to get to work. Once I was at work in my confined space, I was fine. But it got to a point where I was really, really paranoid. I thought everyone was looking at me, and I needed to fix that. And
Yeah.
yeah, I did a lot of things. I had great support. I was lucky. I did a lot of things, but it was really when I started working on myself that I realized, wow, but it was very temporary because I never got to the root, you know.
Mm,
So now I use some of the tools that I used on myself
yeah.
uh, within, the program that I find that I had the best results with and with my clients. So especially some of the tools I use over to COVID, I had a lot of clients online. So,
Sure.
and one of them, some of the tools I used had a massive uh, response on people being able to like finally leave their home where they hadn't before.
Wow.
But with the body decoding, it's not temporary. Before it,
Yeah.
it was very temporary, these tools. It worked to a certain degree, and then I still
Yeah, you
have
kind of have to go back to it.
that stress
Yeah.
and anxiety.
Yeah.
Um, and it's funny because when I started doing the body decoding, obviously I did it on myself, and went through all the stations. And there's still stuff that comes up that you still look at, but I have that from
Yeah.
you'll have
Yeah.
people will have this in their program where they
Yeah.
can go back and they have it forever, and they
Yeah.
can go back and look at, oh, this is this station I need to work on, and they have the tools and they have everything. And so when things come up again in their life, that program, that 8-week program, they'll have it forever and can
Yeah,
keep
they can
going
come
back
back.
and use that. And if they want to go on a deeper level, and then they
Yeah.
can you go, right, I really want to get the root cause of this, and I feel
Yeah.
like I need to go deeper, then we can do one-on-one. I offer one-on-one program as well, if
Oh,
that's what
it's,
they want to
yeah.
go after. And
You know,
through that, they need a consultation because we have to decipher what kind of program's best for them,
yeah.
one-on-one, and what they want. So intricate because, again, everybody's so different.
Yeah.
Everybody needs different things and different support. So that's very personal as well. So, but
Very much.
yeah, the program is really gets to the root cause. It's you can shift things very quickly, and yeah, and you think, wow, did I do that? Can this be like this? But yeah, the flow method.
I think, yeah. Isn't that the crazy thing? We always talk about it because it's still to this day, I'm actually shocked how often it will happen very quickly. I mean, I think even when you started using some of like the flow method and body decode stuff in your practice at the mental health clinic, I think the front desk got a call and was like, I don't know who
Yeah,
your alternative health person is.
yeah, they did. Yeah, one of
Yeah.
the surgeries rang and said, your complementary therapist has been getting so many, you know, uh, so much gratitude from some of the clients for how much they were able to get from just those 3 sessions they got with me. So yeah, I was really happy. I was like, what? Really? Because I was using it in such a day-to-day life. I was just talking and I didn't realize the impact that it was having,
Yeah.
and it really is like, wow, this is fabulous. I really love this. What I got out of it was being able to directly help my clients in one session. And that's, you know, even if it's just giving them one tool, because
Yeah.
one realization and creating some tools for that person to shift that, it starts immediately.
Yeah.
This is immediate, and that's empowering. I think the program is really empowering. I think using the flow method and decoding is really empowering. It gives you a tool that that you don't have to question, oh, where's this coming from? You can just go through the flow method and you've got your answer, and then you do your work. And
Yeah.
it's just fabulous.
And then with amazing support from a human being like you. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And getting support.
Very much so. So let's talk about because you let's talk about because one of the things you're amazing at, Liz, honestly, is let's talk about the stations. So the stations within the flow method and body decode, the stations are areas of our mind, body, and life, right? And that we can have unconscious beliefs that have been coded in, oftentimes from childhood, oftentimes from traumas or difficulties. If we've had something really significant happen and almost instantly seed us with a sort of a negative belief. When we start to look at it the lens of like how does stress and anxiety start to show up in our bodies? If we look at like let's say station 1, right? Station 1 we're dealing with anything from sort of the tailbone down, but it's also all about our group relationships, how we feel is how we
Yeah,
relate to groups in our lives, and
yeah,
certainly our childhood and how those foundational issues that may have come in, whether you felt supported or not in childhood. I know I had a client some years ago that every time she walked forward, she had like this really weird cracking sensation in her foot, in the bottom of her foot. It had just started like 2 months earlier. And I said to her, I said, well, then, when you're walking forward, you literally feel like your foundations are cracking. And at that point, it was because she had come out as lesbian to her family. Her family was not open or supportive at all, unfortunately, in that situation. And so as she was trying to move forward in life, it was like her foundations literally cracked, right? And
yeah.
that's what I find really fascinating. I think you've seen some of those people, some of those things too. Have you seen like where have you seen some of the stress and anxiety start to show up in people's bodies that you've worked with?
Yeah, so um, there's this one lady, and she came to me she basically said to me she wanted to lose weight, but
Yep.
she had a huge amount of ailments. So she wasn't able to move, you know.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
but, the diseases that, her diagnosed diseases were, very autoimmune. And, um, but in saying that, station one was coming up a lot because
Which is immune system. Yeah.
yeah, was coming up a lot, not just because of her diseases, but because of, you know, it was her legs and her hips and her,
Mm,
it's everything. And by using, you know, the body decoding, um, within, she did the 8-week program.
hmm
Um, and within, I think it was, and she did no exercise. This is purely just working on herself, um, and coming together and doing,
Sure.
putting the tools together specifically designed for her. She was able to lose 20 pounds.
Wow, isn't that wild?
Didn't even, within, I think that was like
It
4 weeks
was
or
pretty
six
quick. I
weeks,
feel like it was,
like really
yeah,
quick. And
yeah.
that was what was weighing her down.
Oh my gosh.
The padding that she put on was for protection. And so
Yeah.
when she started to understand, and it was funny, the last 2 weeks we had huge, a huge breakthrough at the end. There was like, she'd hit a wall where she didn't really want to look at anything else, but that is where true healing comes in,
Yeah, it's
is when
right after
she's
the
like,
wall.
I don't want to talk about that. And I'm like, let's talk about it. And and she did, I was, and
Yeah.
she, at first she's like, oh no, nothing, there's nothing. And, I've done this myself. Like I've done this
Who
myself, talking,
hasn't?
you know, and I've gone, I don't want to talk about it. And I remember when my mentor says, well, okay, we don't, and we just create a safe space. She did talk about it, she did talk about it.
Yeah, she
And I
finally
was,
felt safe enough to
that
talk
is
about it.
the very, very, that it was like we had got back to certain age, and then we got to this one point. We didn't go into the actual issue, but she told me the situation, and
Yeah,
then we were able to go, okay, let's create some tools to shift this. Let's do
yeah,
something around this issue.
yeah.
She, uh, just everything changed for her. The way, by improving and working on your own relationship with yourself and shifting those things, her relationships around her all
Right.
shifted. Her relationship with her mum, her relationship with her daughter, her relationship with her grandchildren.
Mm,
It was crazy. It was like beautiful. It was
yeah.
beautiful to hear, because we started off every day her telling me like, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened, and there was
Oh,
joy that came up in her, and she, and even her relationship with her husband
yeah.
improved. She was able to see the things he's doing not as triggering anymore. It became more of like, oh, I understand that. That's okay now. It
Mm,
didn't trigger her, because it wasn't, because all her, all the debris, sitting within
yeah,
her, been like washed away.
yeah,
And I suppose it's creating that new foundation,
yeah,
your strength and your understanding of yourself, and that relationship with yourself is creating a new foundation for you to build on, for you to move on with. So
yeah.
without that strong foundation, and because of group settings as well, because it was her role in her family group setting, what
Mm,
role did she play, and when she started to become stronger, she was able to change that foundation within her family unit, or her
within her
role.
unit.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and be able to put up boundaries. So she was
Mm,
become stronger. So especially being the mother figure, you know, um, to be able to be more empowered mother figure, then empowered her daughter, empowered, it's such an empowering thing. It
yeah.
spreads everywhere. It just has a butterfly effect on everything. Um, so yeah, and her pain. So she had a disease, fibromyalgia,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's right.
she was on so many painkillers,
Mm,
um, maybe 8 a day.
right.
8 if she needed it, but
Yeah.
she said she was on a lot. She would take up to 6 to 8. And within 2 weeks, she probably took, in that 2 weeks, was it the first 2 weeks or this? Yep. Within the month, she had got down to two painkillers every 2 weeks. That was
Wow.
it. 8 a day, 6 to 8 a day, to two painkillers within that last 2 weeks that we were there. So she still had the fibromyalgia, but there was no pain with it anymore.
Wow.
So it's just a massive effect on the body,
Isn't that
and we're
incredible?
all different. Like we are all different, but she was willing to dive and do the work. She was willing to do the work. And I think that made a big difference.
Liz, I think that's so incredible. And also, when we think about something like a fibromyalgia, right? It's you're
Yeah.
being literally pulled. It is a very stress and anxiety related disease.
Yeah.
It really is because you are literally being like pulled apart at the seams, really, all these different directions, all these stressors. And when you can get to the root like you did and help her see, okay, this gently. And I will say, Liz, one of the things for anybody who's listening, one of the things I love about you is not only are you so precise with people, but you're also very gentle. You're extremely
Yeah.
gentle in leading people through things, and I think that's so important, especially when people have dealt with significant difficulties or they're coming to you with significant illnesses. Maybe they've been to doctors, they've been to therapists, they've been to, whoever a lot, and they've just not gotten to the quite where it's at or that root. You
Yeah.
need somebody who can say, okay, now I've got you. And we're going to lead you through this in a really gentle and safe way so you don't feel, because it can be quite overwhelming, right? But
Yeah. It can be really overwhelming. But I think because, you go away each week with a new tool,
Yeah.
and so it's like, okay, I felt this way, and now I've got a new tool. It's like you're gathering that. It's quite nurturing,
Yeah.
if you know. It's really
Very,
nurturing. Yeah.
very much so. So, one thing I notice in the world right now, and we've talked about it a couple of times, I think, is that, there's a lot of anxiety in the world for a lot of different reasons, right? I think there's
Mhm.
always a lot in the world. We're just more connected than we ever were. So, we're even more, especially those of us that are highly sensitive or empathic people. It's very overwhelming. Um, so, what would you say to somebody who's dealing with, let's say, a lot of anxiety? Maybe they are a person who's absorbing a lot of that anxiety in the world right now. What kinds of things would you kind of take them through? What would you tell them that might be helpful for them to implement?
You know, it's connecting with your body is huge.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Connecting with your body is really huge. Um, and making that time, really make time for yourself every day. I think creating rituals, creating, just getting tools to help to settle the body, because your body's screaming out, your nervous system is saying stop.
Yeah.
Basically, your nervous system's in fight and flight for far too long. Your body's saying stop. And I would, you know, I think gratitude before
Yeah.
you even get out of your bed, that lying in bed and you're kind of waking up. I remember I used to like lie there and my body would be shaking internally. And the first thing I would do was, there was this great breathing technique by a guy called James Nestor, and it was like, breathe in through your nose only. So it's only using your nose. And it's like, breathe in for 4, hold for 2, exhale out of your nose for 6, and then hold for 2. Breathe
Mm.
in for 4, hold for 2, exhale for 6, hold for 2. And if you do that for 3 minutes while you're waking up, your whole body just goes back to
Oh, wow. Yeah.
reset. Yeah. And then I would think of, when we're anxious, the first thing we do in wake up is like, I've got to get up, I've got to go, I've got so much to do, I've got to get this. And you're not really, waking up to your new day,
Yeah,
your
that's
new
true.
start, your new,
That's true.
you know,
You're still connected
sun-
to yesterday.
it's still, yeah. Or,
Yeah.
sometimes when we have anxiety when we wake up, it's because the residual energy is still humming in our body from the anxiety
Yeah.
yesterday, and
Yeah.
it's trying to release it. So by breathing, that like instantly, it's not going to solve all your problems, but it's giving you a tool to be able to just center, start from the beginning. And I found that instant relief, like
Oh,
instant relief. And the counting's giving your mind something to do.
sure. So it's like
Counting.
distracting you from yeah.
The breathing is slowing down your heart rate at that, the
Yeah.
counting, the actual that breathing is specifically designed for stress and anxiety.
Oh, that's lovely.
Um, as long as you breathe into your belly, that's the main thing.
Right, right, right. Instead of like up in here.
We don't want to do it up here. Up here is like a half breath. You're only filling your lungs halfway. But if we bring it down to our belly, down to our diaphragm, we're actually expanding our diaphragm up like this. You're actually moving that whole internal cavity, it kind of
Yeah.
rocks like this. It's very
Yeah.
soothing to breathe into your belly using, excuse me, your nose in and out of your nose. It sends a message straight to your brain saying, okay, we're relaxing. And also too, it sends like something like 15 messages to your body to signals to relax by
Oh,
breathing that
wow.
way.
Sure.
So yeah, it's an amazing, amazing. He's amazing actually. Study in breath work. So breath work is a great way in any shape or form. That's just one I use. There's so many out there, and I'm sure there's people around the world that are all doing much great work with breath work. That one I use specifically. I use that with my clients as well.
Sure.
I find it's just instant, instant. Yeah. So
So
that's something you can do. That's a
Yeah, and
freebie.
that's a good no,
You know,
that's a good one. That's for
big
anybody
freebie.
because that would be like exactly. Well, I also know, Liz, that you're like an incredible meditation teacher, right? You're just incredible at
Oh,
that.
meditation.
Yeah, so
Yes, I can't.
do you see
I
people
can't
when you're
even speak.
teaching like live in the meditation? Can you see that people are breathing maybe up here and not down into their belly? Is that a common thing you're seeing for people with stress and
Yeah,
anxiety? Yeah,
I do. I feel like they can't do it. So it takes a lot. So when you do it, you're going to go, oh, I can't expand. I can't because your diaphragm's tight because
I
you
see.
been breathing shallowly and everything's kind of stiff and tight. So when you first do the first kind of couple of breaths, you're going to feel, oh God, I can't do it. Get to a certain
Yeah,
point. Don't worry,
yeah,
just hold it, like count to how much you can breathe in, and then just keep counting, and then go hold. But you're
yeah.
actually lowering your heart rate by doing that. And when you
Mm,
lower your heart rate, your beats per minute, you're sending a message to your body. Oh, we're going out of fight and flight. We're going into rest and
yeah,
digest
yeah. They're
now.
not feeling safe,
Body
and they start
start,
to.
yeah, your body after about
Yeah,
doing it 3 or 4 times, breathing, your actual diaphragm will engage. It'll start to
yeah.
stretch. And by the sixth and seventh breath, you'll be able to do it easy. And by the time you get to 12, 13, 14, you can breathe. That's so easy. So you're going to feel that restriction because you're so
Mm,
tight and I wouldn't say do it while you're having a panic attack or in the height of your anxiety. I would wait
sure,
till
because it
you've
would
come out of that
almost right. Yeah.
attack. You'd nearly give yourself more anxiety, yeah,
Mm,
or an attack. So you just wait till you've calmed down a bit. Um, there's also like you can count on your fingers, by counting
yep.
fingers really slowly, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And by doing that, you're kind of engaging your mind, engaging your sight. Your when we walk, we sweep our eyes from side to side. And when we and that relaxes our body. We naturally do this. So by doing this, we're actually relaxing as if we're walking by counting. It does good other things, a rapid eye movement. And I think there's some more uh, we can delve into that. That's just
Yeah.
a from another time. I'm not specialized in, but there's EMDR where they use,
Sure.
eye
Yeah, I'm
movement.
a big believer, especially for people that have speaking of
Yeah.
PTSD.
And there's yeah, PTSD and also, moving trauma to parts of the brain, but it's uh, that's not something I specialize in, but is brilliant,
Yeah, it
as well.
absolutely is. And that's the nice thing is that I notice with you, because you do work, one of the things I was really impressed with when people would be coming in and they're coming to see you and you would use like the flow method, body decode, and you'd get to like that root thing that somebody like that root issue, that root experience, and you would help them. But then you could also, because they're going off to talk to their counselor or therapist, right?
Yeah,
You were working in concert to say, here's the root. In fact, I actually just did that yesterday myself with a client. I was like, here's
yeah,
the root right here. And I know you're going to go see your therapist. So take that and say, hey, we figured out that this is the root. And then you can also, in
yeah,
tandem, right, be able to also
yeah.
help have a therapist help, which is amazing, right?
Yeah. I love where I work because you can, as long as they see where the root problem is, they
Yeah,
can shift it. And sometimes people do need counseling. Maybe sometimes you think, oh,
absolutely
I
do.
brought up a whole kind of, I need to talk to someone. And then I would say, absolutely, definitely,
Yeah,
counseling is fabulous. It's such a
yeah,
great, I'm working with the body.
yep,
My job is working with the body. And I say that to my clients, I work with the body, and we can shift it and definitely with tools helps the mind. But, there are going to be circumstances where people, you get at work, it's great because I can say, right, so we know where it started. Because a lot of people come in and they go, I don't know
yeah,
where this has come from. It
yeah.
could be because they've gone through so many life-changing experiences in one. And that's, and I think the life-changing experiences in our life, although they can be traumatic, are usually where we have our most growth.
That is true.
So, and then most
Yes.
of my clients, though, I normally see later on. Like they're not going through their life-changing experiences when they see me. I am afterwards, and they
Yeah.
go, oh my God. And then which is great. That's what I'm here for. I'm
Yeah.
here for after the life-changing experience. And it can be very sad things like grief or
Yeah.
death, or it could be even huge things like after giving birth. Because
Yeah.
they're life-changing experiences.
Very much
Um,
so.
that can bring up stuff that they have to look at because there's so much light comes in the body with birth and even just having a child, no matter how we get that child, it's still a life-changing experiences.
Very
And
much
children
so.
bring in so much light, right? And so
Yes.
sometimes we need to go, wow, I'm seeing a new side of myself,
Yes.
a deeper side of myself. And it's bringing up other things that I need to look at. So life-changing events normally bring up things that you need to look at that you haven't looked at
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Um, or even you don't know how to deal with it. So,
Yeah.
and it maybe is stuck in your body as pain, or it's in your body as manifested somehow. We've
Yeah.
all manifested something, that we have to look at.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
Myself. But
Yeah.
that's good. As long as we look at it,
As long as we bring the awareness
as
to
long
it,
as we look
right?
at it and bring it
Yeah.
up and can move forward.
Yes.
It's moving forward. It's about shifting things and
Yep.
and it's doable. This is the thing, like it's so doable, and it's so manageable um and you've got tools for life, you
That's
know.
the that's the thing.
You're
Once
not
you learn it, you can't unlearn it. And that's the
You
nice.
can't, no. And the thing is too, like I gathered so many tools along my life path, and I outgrew them.
Sure.
This is the thing, But with this, with decoding, you don't you might change them a little bit for yourself, or go, I'm going to
Yep.
upgrade that. Say
Yep.
I gave them, uh, we work with the subconscious mind. So, say you had, some sentences or paragraphs you say for your subconscious mind to reprogram. Well, you can upgrade that at any
Yeah.
time and
Yep.
change it to suit the
Anytime.
purpose at any time.
Yep.
Meditations,
Yeah.
uh, they're not hour-long meditations. They're small meditations, uh, that will help, and then you can change them. I mean, you can use them. I mean,
Yes.
for when the circumstances change. They're so
Yeah.
multi-dimensional in that way that
Yep.
you can, use it all the time. They don't go out. You don't outgrow them. They're there. You just shuffle things around
That's
to
right. Or
suit
add or
the
upgrade, or as you
movement.
say.
Upgrade
Yeah.
or add.
Y-
Upgrading is a great word because you really are upgrading yourself when doing this program.
I
You
mean,
are.
really, you are.
Are you ready to upgrade yourself? Yeah, come on. And I can use this. Like if I get stuck with stuff, I use it on myself.
Yeah.
So I don't like, with all of my services I provide, I don't like using anything that I don't feel doesn't work,
Yeah.
on myself, that I haven't used on myself, and that I don't keep using on myself. Because otherwise, I don't want to sell something that I don't believe in.
No.
And plus, I'm not good at selling stuff for people. Like I never was good at sales. My sister could sell ice to an Eskimo. I can't. I can't do it. I can't. I was like, I've got to believe it. I've got
I
to
know, me
feel
too.
it.
Me
I've got to
too.
have a passion for it to be able to sell it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got to be really authentic. And I love this. I like this because ethically, this program is great. Um, the body decoding in general and the flow method,
Yeah.
and it really resonated with me and aligned with how I feel I wanted to work with my clients.
Yeah.
um, I was searching a long time, and it really went well with all my other
With
healing
everything,
modalities.
you have so much knowledge and so many modalities, Liz,
Well, I
that you
studied
can.
metaphysics. I studied
Yeah.
metaphysics as well,
Yeah.
at the High Mistress School in London. I've been studying metaphysics for 10 years, and I think that
Yeah.
gives me a great insight. And it's taught me, because you study it, it teaches you a lot about yourself, but it also teaches you a lot about humans in general. You know,
It's true.
um, people are good people.
Yeah.
We're all good people. It's just our experiences sometimes, like you say, it's like it like puts a cloud in front of us and we can't see out of the cloud. And
Yeah.
so when we start to work on ourselves, the cloud becomes, less dense, and then it becomes like fog, and then it lifts and it's like, oh, finally, clarity. I
Yeah.
can see where I'm going now. So it's
Yeah.
just like things happen. It creates a little fog that becomes like a big rain cloud around us. And it's just like, we just have to shift that. that,
Yeah.
you know.
Right. We don't have to keep reacting from stress or fear or hurt or
Yeah,
anger or the things we haven't processed, right? I mean, I think
100%.
probably Liz, both of us, I know we both have seen people with triggers that they aren't even consciously aware of that have caused body reactions that might include hyperventilation, that might include a whole bunch. The body will oftentimes tell us and remind us that this is either something's happening in our life that is very much the same as something that happened before we have not processed.
Yeah.
So a trigger I
Yes.
can think of is some years ago I was giving a talk, or well, actually I was sort of on the spot translating for people at a cancer support community. And this woman in the front row, kind of raised her hand and said, this is a weird one. I like a few weeks ago, so in early December, I was out for a walk with my husband. It's our normal 2 hour or 2 mile walk. And all of a sudden, she was hit with like she could not get a breath in. Everything tightened. She couldn't get a breath in. They had to call 911. They thought, like, she went off to the hospital. They thought that she was having a heart attack. She did all the tests afterwards, fine, pulmonary, fine, everything fine. And she's like, I don't understand. What happened? Can you tell me? And I looked at her and I was like, well, I said, first was the holidays here, Thanksgiving would have happened. I said, was it anything with the holidays? Did you have something that took your breath away during the holidays? And she said, no. And I said, okay, then I want to look at like the year before, around that date. Did something happen that literally took your breath away, that hit you in the
Yeah.
chest and took your breath away? And she looked at her husband with, I'll never forget this stunned look on her face. And she said, oh my God, that was the exact 1 year anniversary of your cancer, the surgery for cancer. And I was scared to death. And like so many caretakers do, she just held it together. She didn't panic in the moment. She just was worried about him, but couldn't, had to stay the strong one, never processed it. A year
Yeah.
later, she wasn't even consciously at all thinking of
Oh,
it, but it was like
body remember.
December 16th, her body remembered. And then boom, here came all of this tightness and stress and literally her body was like, "Remember when you couldn't breathe a year ago because the breath was knocked out of you, you were so worried about your husband? Okay, we're processing it now."
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Right?
100%.
It's gonna have to. So I know you've probably seen. I mean, that one was just one that really stuck out to me because it was such. I mean, she was like 911 and the whole thing, and it was just her body.
Oh my
And
gosh, I have the best story. Like this has happened to my body. This happened to
oh,
my body. I actually was in a car accident when I was 9.
mm,
It was quite a bad car accident, me and my brothers and sisters. And I didn't remember it for like, I don't know, 5 years. And then when I was about 14, 15, I started getting kind of flashbacks. I started to remember everything.
oh, wow,
And
okay,
then when I was about mm, I would say I must have been about 21. I started getting a really sore back. Um,
wow,
uh, every like this certain time of the year, and as I got older and as I had children, it got worse and worse and worse, and started happening frequently. But especially at this one time of the year, I would be on the floor in
oh
agony,
my
like
goodness,
literally. I wasn't looking at it at all. I didn't want to. I didn't want to even sit.
yeah,
Yeah, so it was like once I started um, to look at the situation,
mm,
address it, and you know, it went away. But yeah, it wasn't until I
yeah,
actually looked at it that it actually now,
yeah,
especially using all my tools, I
yeah,
don't even get twinges. Like I used to still
wow,
get a little bit of back, like an ache
sure,
still, but not
yeah,
as bad as being on the floor. But now I don't even like I never get a sore back. Like
wow.
and I used to get it all the time.
And was
Yeah,
it the
ever since I
same time
started.
of year as your accident? Would it have been?
Yeah, exactly that week
Wow.
because I was in hospital for about, a good couple of
Oh,
days
I'm
and I was
sure.
off school and but yeah
Mm,
it was but it was there was a lot of issues around that accident as well, why it
sure.
happened. So I think that I didn't want to look at that issue.
Yeah,
I know it was a car accident, but it
yeah.
was also
But then there was more going
it
on
was
that you're like,
more what was happening around that time at the car
yeah,
accident as well. And
yeah,
it was, you know I really had to pull back and really work on using that flow method was great because I instantly saw it. It was easier for me while I was working on myself, I felt.
Yeah.
Um, because I was really aware. I'd done healing around it and body
Mm.
work and stuff, but I hadn't actually got to the core, hadn't really looked at it because it was something that I didn't know how to look at.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's there. Yeah, I know. But how do I shift it? Like how do I shift this? I did do a lot of healing around it, but there was still that one thing. And I think once I was aware of exactly pinpointed it,
Right.
I pinpointed it. So around that time of the accident, that same year, there was so much else going on. And it was actually before the accident is
Yeah,
where
it was
the
that,
trauma.
and then the accident was almost, yeah. Wow. Wow, Liz,
It was all in
amazing.
the one year. And you look back and you think, God, I was 9 year old. I had no idea what was going on. Because the next day, one day is like a year when you're a kid.
Yeah.
Time just goes forever.
Yeah.
Like I remember wedding birthday party and it was like, okay, we're not going for another hour. And I go, like an hour. That's ages away. An hour, I don't have enough time.
As a mom of a
You
9-year-old
know,
right now, I can relate to that. Yes.
yeah. It's like an hour, 15 minutes.
I know.
What?
It's like, oh my God. I know. You're
So,
right.
it doesn't have to be, it manifested in my body for so long,
Yeah.
and I was carrying that every year and I just accepted it. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's just what my body does. What? No, that's not normal. Do you know? And the
Yeah.
fact that I knew that I was able to shift it, that was so good.
Well, yeah,
So
I mean, I
like,
think, Liz, you bring up such a good point. So, what we often do when we go through these things, and a lot of times, societally and sometimes culturally, or even because you're a kid, you aren't allowed or able to kind of like fully process what the situation was. And we
yeah,
push it down, right? And
yeah.
then when we push it down, and we're not, again, at 9, you weren't, what are you going to do? You're going to push down, right? I mean, you're just doing what you need to
So
do,
unless someone helps you
unless
around
someone
you,
helps
that's
you.
kind of. Yeah, and you can't do it. And so you can't, yeah. And I think as we grow up in adults, we say to ourselves, well, that happened when I was 9. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Like
matter, but
that's
eventually it will come
yeah,
out. It
it will
comes out, right?
manifest.
It
Manifest. Yeah.
it manifests. So you're seeing it too. Like, I mean, whether it manifests as stress or anxiety or fear that doesn't seem to make any sense, it can be things like that that we just didn't even, you've shoved it down for so long. And there could have, like, let's say there's somebody else out there and they had a car accident and they're 10, 11, 12 years old and they think it's fine, it's no big deal. And then maybe something else right now makes them feel that same sense of lack of safety, or they almost got into an accident. And then, woo, all this comes right because those two things are connected and the body recognized it, right? And it's going to come out. Yeah.
And that time of year, things can trigger you, and you're like, I don't know why this time of year. I mean, I get a lot
A
of people
time of year.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people say, oh, it's the anniversary of like, my mum's death. I'm always like this every year.
Yeah. Yep.
You don't have to be like that every year.
Yeah.
You don't have to be like that every
No,
year.
you can, right. You
know,
can take back your power. Yeah.
you can take back the power because, a traumatic event or losing someone is very, um, yeah, it can shake you to the core,
Yeah.
and it makes you feel powerless because you're not in control of what's happening.
Absolutely.
You've just, it's like trying to accept it, going through those stages. Um, it isn't, I wouldn't work really. I normally work with people after the 3 months of grief.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah. Because it takes a,
wait the
right.
3 months
Hmm.
because you got to process it that it's happened.
Yeah. It
That
can't be
it,
forced. Cannot, and should not be forced.
so
In
after
grief.
that 3 months,
Hmm.
because I know some people say, one client said to me, I can't believe I still feel like this after 6 months. And I'm
Mm.
like, I feel like what?
Yeah.
Because our grief is so different. And
Yeah.
that's another thing. Like what one person goes through isn't going to be exactly the way the other one feels. And they could be experiencing the same grief of losing a mum, but it's going to be so different for every single
Yeah.
person. So, what could be 3 months, it could be 6 months, but when it's time when you go, okay, I need help processing this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where it's just so
and
heavy. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And if we don't, if we decide, no, like like I did when I lost my dad, I was like, yep, no, I'm not. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not. No, don't want to look at that grief. No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That's a little bit detrimental. And then then your grieving process takes years, but
Yeah.
eventually you have to look at it.
It got, yeah.
Uh, I just was busy. I had things to do.
I know. I know. That's what happens
Poor
though so
dad.
often. People are like, nope.
Oh, and my excuse was, my dad won't doesn't want me to sit down and um, you know, be unhappy, but you still have to process stuff. You still have to go through the process. Otherwise, it did manifest in my body. It does
Yeah.
manifest in your body, and
It,
you know that it just weighs you down. It's like carrying a big, rock around with you that just
it,
becomes a boulder and becomes bigger and bigger
it
to eventually you have to
does.
put it down and go, I've got to look at this now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
But anything you don't look at, Tara, is going to manifest into something or becomes a massive trigger. And we all have triggers.
yeah. Or
And
becomes this
we want to
stress and
get to
anxiety. Yeah.
the stress. And so if we don't look at something, you know, it's very stressful anyway, not
Yeah.
looking at what we want to do. It's just going to come up. And I think stress and anxiety is so huge. Like, that's what I deal with every day with most of my clients. I'm so used to talking with my clients now um, that I think that's why I normally I really wanted to go out and put this program out was because I really wanted to help people that did have stress and anxiety that wanted to work and do it themselves. I wanted to put up something someone
Yeah.
can empower. This is a program I can buy,
Yeah.
um, and I can work on it each day. Like, because when they make an appointment, sometimes it's like, I've got a busy schedule. How am I going to do it? One day I might have them like a morning free, and then the next week I only have an afternoon free. Or God, I'm going to do this when I put the kids to bed every night. It's my little thing I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's my routine. And they can do it themselves, and work through the program. And it's exciting. It's really fun. I love it. Like
Yeah.
I loved working through this program. Working on different areas of the body, different you know station one was like kind of my favorite, I have to tell you. Even if you do the flow method and it tells you what stations, you want to work on, but basically we all have got something in every station.
Oh, yeah.
Like there's not like we mightn't be as high, you might give you a station to work on your first station. It might
Yep.
be the highest, but outcome, but it doesn't mean that you don't have anything in any other station. So with this program, we're diving into every station. So you're looking at your body, your whole entire body, but
Yeah.
also you're looking at where do I all different sectors of your life and
Yes.
relationships you have in life. And so, it can be like all areas, like where do I stand within my family unit, where do I how do I feel or stand within the community, within my relationships, within my friends, with
Yeah.
groups, churches, with um, you know associations that I do. um, I hold workshops, and I remember going, you know I had to get up in front of a group and facilitate these workshops. And I remember, my first couple of times I was really nervous, going, "Oh, I hope I don't say the wrong thing." Um, and I got when I first started, I must have had the right people in the room because they were brutal with their feedback, which was brilliant for me. Like I thrived on it. I was sucking up. Yeah, anything else you didn't like? Anything else that and at that time I had a lot of men, so it was really good because they're very
Yeah.
much just to the point, which I loved. And so it was really good. I learned a lot. um and now I don't even think about it when I do my 6-week workshops, which
Yeah.
I host at the center.
Yeah.
um Meditation is great. Like I can't begin to tell you. I use a lot of it in my programs. um that it, they're light meditation. So you're not sitting and going really, really deep, but it's enough to shift. It's enough to use. And the more you listen to them, your body knows it. Like your
Yeah.
body goes, "Oh, I remember this. I know this. And so
Yeah,
every time, single time you do it, it's a different experience because you're not the same person you were 1 minute ago. You're not the same person you were yesterday. You're not the same person you were 10 minutes ago. Every single minute of the day, you are changing.
yeah,
So, we listen to this, these small
yeah.
20-minute meditations, your your body is always shifting. It's going to be a meditation you can always listen to because you're a
That's
new
right.
person that second, and you're going to be seeing it in a different light, feeling it in a different light, shifting in a different light than you did the first time.
Yeah,
So, um, yeah, for stress and anxiety, meditation is huge in any
yeah,
shape or, I teach my system, but um, with this program, I'm using my own system.
yeah. Very much
So
so. No, very, very much
yeah,
so.
I'm
And
using my
it's
system, but
interesting you say that. Oh, go ahead, Liz.
yeah, no, it's just the stress and anxiety. It's just huge because in these stations, you really are you're delving into every single station. So by the end of the program, you shifted so much that you wanted to look at that time. And then you do the program again. If you like had it and then, had a life-changing event, and then you can go back and do the program again by yourself. It's really
Yeah,
empowering.
it's really
It's
empowering. And
something that everybody can take, and you've got stress and anxiety, and it's something you've got there.
yeah,
It's not
you
going
can
to
do it.
fix everything. And sometimes you're going to find issues where, oh no, I need to maybe go to a counselor for this. I really need to
Yeah,
sort
there
this
can
out.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or there might be a thing where, oh God, I want to go deeper with Liz. I want to need one-on-one. I want to do
Yeah,
one-on-one. And
very.
we can do that as well. And we can, really dive deeper. But it's a great program. And for anyone that, stress and anxiety, that is the thing that they're living with every day, and it's coming and going and here and there, and it's chopping and changing their lives and making day a really struggle or really hard and difficult, you know, it's something that's just going to really, really get in there and shift and move so that you can move forward. Because that's what we want. We want to be able to shift the stuff so that we can move forward in our life, you know.
Yes, and
It's
feel
part
better,
of-
feel more in
Yeah.
control, right? Like I.
What did I say? It's like aligning with, with your soul,
Yes,
basically. You're aligning, and also it gives you, when you start to work on yourself, you start to build a relationship or connect with your spirit. So
yes,
that's huge as well. And that'll bring you heaps of clarity. When you start working on yourself, you become so much more clear in your mind,
yeah.
clearer in where you need to go.
Yes, and I find, and I cannot believe we're actually at an hour, believe it or not, Liz. So we'll
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
well, but I find one of the things I think people forget is when we work on and we get that stress and anxiety down, we think we need at some level, sometimes people that are like very hypervigilant, right? Because they maybe grew up in
Yes.
environments that were uncertain. And so they became very hypervigilant, or they had something happen and they become very hypervigilant. And the core reason, obviously, for that is that you feel like if you're not paying attention to everything, something might happen. And you need to be ready at all
Yeah.
times, right? And you go down
Yeah.
the spirals. But the truth is, when you've done this work, like what you're doing with your 8-week program, once you have done this work, you actually realize that you are way more able to handle anything that comes to you when you are in a present and calm state.
Yeah.
It's not doing you any good. You think you're more ready because and I can
Yeah.
speak from experience here. You think you're more ready, like looking at every single possible, and like laying there in bed and thinking, okay, what are the 12 possible things that are going to happen? And what would I do if it does happen? Right? You think you're more ready. You do, but you're not. You're way more
No.
ready in a relaxed
Can't
state,
respond. Yeah,
right?
100%. And also too, we're working with the subconscious mind in these programs with the flow method and that.
Yeah.
So we're actually building strength in our subconscious minds when we are in a state of stress, and our
Yes.
conscious mind needs the backup of our subconscious mind. In our subconscious mind, we've got, panics here, and then your subconscious mind comes in and you're like, you know, I'm strong, I'm courageous,
I can
I'm
handle
I
it. I'm
can
ready.
handle these
Right.
things. I'm aware and I'm strong and um, I'm focused. Whatever it is that
Right.
you're working comes back up, and I had that experience, um, quite recently when my son came home and was called up to school, and and my son was coming home, and I was in shock at what had happened. And I sat there and I didn't panic. I just was like, okay, what's going on? No, I'm not talking to you right now, but I'll talk to you. Paramedics, talking to the paramedics. Fine, go home. Teacher want to talk to me. I said, I can't right now. I will speak to you tomorrow because I didn't want to say anything, one, that I didn't
Yeah.
mean. I also, my first priority was my son.
Yep.
And I wanted to talk to the paramedics because they basically they were the major things. And I really was really calm. And I know if I had been anyone, I would have flown up to the school in an absolute panic stricken. But I wasn't. I was like, I got there. He's with the right people. They've done the right procedure. I wasn't going to worst case scenario. What will I do if something happened? And I just didn't go there because I was strong
Right.
enough to be able to go to my mind. I mean, the thought came in. I was like, no, not doing that. I'm not going
Yep.
there until I know I need to see this situation. And I was calm and it was grand. And I think that's because I created that space in my subconscious mind. And yeah, I could go on, but I'm not.
Yeah. And you've
Yeah,
done, no, no, no,
basically
but
like creating that strength
yep.
within you to be able to cope with
So,
stressful situations. So
yeah,
you're not
whenever they
stopping
come
the
up.
stress outside. Yeah, you're actually working on this. How I react to the stress,
That's it.
not stopping the stress from happening. That's what stress relief is. It's like
Yes. And sometimes
I'm working on
healing.
my
Yeah,
healing
sometimes
that.
healing that underlying thing that is causing this stress reaction in you, right? So I feel like because I know the work that you do so well, I feel like in this 8-week program, you're really leading people through, let's absolutely look at every area of your mind, body, and life and figure
Yep.
out where is the root of stress and anxiety here. Then let's put some tools in place that get personalized for that person. Nobody's journey is going to be the same and that they now are able to put into place on each level. So it's like stacking, it's like building a house. It's like stacking, okay, now we've got the first floor, now we got the second floor. And now
Yeah.
suddenly by the time you're done, you're standing in a lovely skyscraper that is quite solid and calm,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And so I mean, would you say like the result of somebody going through that 8-week program with you, what would you say? I mean, what are they going to feel at the end of it? I think it's very important for people to understand how do you actually feel? Just what you were describing, even with this very scary event with your son, right?
Yeah. You just feel more empowered, more in control, more able to think clearer. I think that's what
Yeah, you're
to
not in
be able to
reaction
make
mode anymore,
you're
right?
not getting triggered, you're not, being instant fight and flight, you're going to be more understanding of even if you did get a little bit nervous, it's like, okay, now I know where it's coming from.
Yeah.
You know how
And you
you've got
can,
tools to go, right? Okay,
yep,
I've got a system now that I'm
yep,
going to use right now because I know exactly what's going on. Because you're understanding what's happening.
yeah.
You're not going, and
Yeah, you're not
alarm
just
bells
at the
flying,
whim of,
hypervigilant state instantly, and not being able to. You're going to be feeling so much more lighter. Like, um, yeah.
I think, in
Just,
control too. Like, ironically, more in control than
yeah,
when you think you were in control, thinking of all the things,
yeah, you're so much more control. Yeah.
right?
Stress and anxiety, you're just not going to be up, you're not going to be getting the same reaction
Yeah,
from certain things that you used to before.
yeah,
So the things that used to trigger aren't triggering you anymore.
yeah,
They're not triggering you anymore. You're not going to be reacting, you're not getting up for your day in stress mode.
yeah,
You're not getting up in stress mode. So you'll feel the stress happen and it will be like, oh, I know what that is. And you'll be able to go, right, no,
yeah,
I'm stressed. I've got to put into place now things that this isn't working for me. So let's put in my tools. So you'll be more in control. Yeah.
yeah.
100% more in control.
Calmer,
Aware.
yeah, aware,
Mhm.
aware. And what I love about you this,
Just,
'cause
you
I know
won't
how
be
you,
feeling it in your body. You'll be able to
yeah.
shift it out of your body. So you'll be less pain, less, it can even help with headaches.
Oh, yeah,
I know, like, gosh, see if I like, I mean, I have so many tools now. I don't get that worked up really about anything. But there are times where I've had a stressful day and gone, oh my God, I got such a headache. Oh
oh, yeah,
gosh,
for
I don't
sure.
know what I have to do. I know what I have to do because it's human, right? We're human. We're going
Yeah.
through this world. And I just know what I have to do. And 2 hours, it's gone.
So
Not
I love
even.
so Liz, I
I
think
mean,
yeah, I want so tell people the name of your program and how they find you.
yeah. So you can find me on my website. It's
Yep.
elizabethstevenson.co.uk.
Yep, and that is in the
Um,
caption as well, guys. So
and at the bottom of the homepage is how to get in contact with me. I'm on Messenger, so you can go through Facebook, or in my email, Elizabeth Stevenson RM at gmail.com. Um, and I will get back to you straight away.
mhm,
And you can contact me through there and we can make appointments and stuff. Otherwise, the program will be available at the end of November. So that
great.
program will be at the end of November. And uh, you'll just, but you can contact me with any questions before that through email or
Can they
Messenger.
get on a like a wait list now, Liz? Like if they sent you a
Yep,
quick link, you put them on a wait
I have
list. Okay,
a subscribe list. Yep, a
great.
subscriber, so you can subscribe to it. You just click on the subscribe button, and all the information will be sent to you in an email. Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Liz, just for anybody out there who is dealing with stress and anxiety, but I have to say, even beyond that, honestly, with you, Liz, I think you are of the people that I have certified so far. One of the things that's I think is amazing about you is you do come up from such a logical place, and you're honestly one of the best at being able to translate somebody's pain and disease in, a minute, 3 minutes, and get right to the root. So I also would recommend if somebody really wants to just have that kind of like, I've got something going on with me. I do have stress and anxiety, but maybe I also have these physical things going on. I'd
Yeah.
encourage you guys to reach out to Liz because you couldn't possibly be in better hands, quite honestly.
Yeah,
Um,
I work in stress and anxiety, but a lot of my clients don't come to me for that reason. And they come
yeah,
to me
yeah,
for
you
losing weight
have,
or just
yeah,
just if they're feeling. Um, I had one client, she was just really, she didn't know why she was sad, So we were able to use that method to get to the bottom of it.
yeah,
And now I seen her the other day walking down the road. She's as happy as Larry. I was like, yes, how you going? It was good. It
yeah.
was good
Sometimes, isn't it?
to see the results. But she did a lot of work on herself as well, using the flow method
Yeah,
practitioner,
right. And that's the thing is like you're going to be in the best possible hands. And if you're the kind of person who's willing to like really listen and start to do the work, you're going to see the results, honestly. I mean, very,
100%.
very much so. Liz, thank you for being
Well,
here. Thank you for being the
thank you for
amazing
having
human.
me.
Yeah, no, thank you for
Thank you.
the amazing healer and human that you are in the world. As you know, my mission is to heal the world, and it's been actually
I
my
was so
honor.
glad to meet you. So I was able to do this. Was just fantastic. So yeah,
Well,
if anyone was wanting to do this kind of program, or study the flow method, um, practitioner course, I would highly recommend it. It
right.
was because it's really helped me in my business so much. So thank you very much. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Liz, you are the best. Cannot recommend. Again, people, the her link is in the caption of this as well. And if you see me also, if you're on my email list, you'll also get another email about her in just a little bit here. Liz, thank you for being here,
Thank
being
you.
the most amazing human out in the world. Thank you for doing the work that you do, because I know from knowing you now for at least a couple of years
Yes,
that
yep.
I know I get to hear
That's
so often
crazy.
like the incredible work you do in that clinic you're working in, and then also in your own practice. And the last thing I'll say is, Liz, you are the absolute top of the top, in my opinion, healer that actually does the work on yourself first. And there is something to be said about somebody who's actually done the work, because a lot of times we will know people, and there's even people out there, they look good, but they're not actually doing the work. And you do the work on yourself, Liz. So you are, in my opinion, absolutely the real deal. And that's
Oh,
why I would
thank
highly
you.
recommend. No, it's true. It's absolutely the truth. All right, my friend, I love you. I'll see you soon. You guys, I will see you next time for the gifted healer. Next week is Ivy Miles, who is also an amazing healer. And she works a lot with women. She's a breast cancer I think, yeah, breast cancer survivor. I was going to say two-time, but I think one-time breast cancer survivor, and does an incredible job in working with women who really need to restore joy, oftentimes after something like a massive illness. So